What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 126 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by no halves of the coolest dudes in video games. This is like the first time I think I've done a Gamescast without Greg being a part of it. A proper Gamescast. There's been a lot of bonus ones. But
Exciting.
Greg's gone, so I was like, when the parents are away, the kids will play. We got to do it. So I was like, I want to talk about Kingdom Hearts, a thing that Greg Miller will never want to talk about. So I had to get the best in the biz. What's good games? Alexa, Ray, Korea.
Hey. Aw, thank you.
And the boy wonder of news from IGN.com, Jonathan Dornbush.
Hey everyone.
Yay.
Glad to be here.
This is gonna be great. We've assembled
Thanks,
the
audience.
dream team for this one.
This
How you
is
guys
great.
been?
Yes.
Great.
Been good.
Good. You've been doing what's good game stuff. We were
Yes.
just talking about this a little bit. How's it going over there?
It's going really well. We are making a lot of stuff. We have a lot of other cool things in the pipeline, and it's just been really fun. Like the four of us just kind of get each other, which is nice.
That is good.
I like it.
And then Jonathan, you at IGN, how's everything going with the news?
It's going well.
System
It's
over there.
It's convention season, so it's crazy, but it's fun.
I do
It's the
not
best time of
envy
year.
your position there.
It's-
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress, and it never stops.
No, it's nonstop right now, but so it makes it both like the worst time, but also the best. It's like
Yeah.
the most rewarding.
Yeah?
Yeah,
All
so
right.
it's been good.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every week we get together, talk about video games and all the things that we love about them. How can you get this show, you ask? It's simple. Actually, it's pretty complex. One, you can support at patreon.com/kindoffunnygames at the $1 or above level and watch the show live, like many of you are doing right now. Two, you can support at other levels and get the show early on Friday. Or if you don't want to support us financially, that's cool too. youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and podcast services around the world will have it on the following Monday. It's a pretty sweet deal when you think about it. You know, I'm happy with it. This episode, it's going to be worth $1.
Oh yeah.
Let's start it off
for
right.
Sure.
What you guys been playing?
So I actually my book came out last week. Not to like drop that. Right
Where
in the
can people
beginning.
get it and what is it?
They can get it on bossfightbooks.com or you can get it on amazon.com. It is about Kingdom Hearts.
Perfect.
I can say that I literally wrote the book on Kingdom Hearts.
Oh my God,
It
you are an
exists.
expert
Which is awesome.
by
It
definition.
exists.
Yep.
I am the expert, and it just came out, and it's been doing really well. You can grab it also on Kindle and Amazon as well. And I went back through, and I was sort of reading my physical copy and crying a little bit, and I noticed something that I said about one game, and I was like, that can't be something about like 358 over 2 days, which is the 3DS game, and I was like. Wait a minute. And so I booted that game up and got sucked back into it. So I'm like 10 hours into this game just replaying it because why not?
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I love that. Well, that was the DS one, right?
That is
Yes.
the DS.
Yeah, the DS one. I didn't play that one.
You don't
We're
have
gonna
to,
get into.
but we'll get to that.
We're gonna get
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
all of that.
We'll get there.
Before we even dive a little deeper into that, I want to talk about your book. So, how did this happen? What is the book?
So there's a small publisher called Boss Fight Books. It was started a couple years ago by a guy named Gabe Dunham, and he wanted to create a series about games for people that like games by people that are also into games. So there are 16 books. Mine is the 16th. There's a couple of short story anthologies, and each one tackles a completely different video game by a completely different author, and some are autobiographical, some are memoirs, some are personal, some are analytical, and some are a straight history. My favorite, Ashley and Anthony Birch wrote about Metal Gear Solid. Nick Sutner did Shadow of the Colossus as like a history of its development, which is absolutely amazing. And I've read it and I really liked it. But in the next season, they've already announced Chris Kohler of Wired fame, now at Kotaku,
Oh, wow.
wrote about Final Fantasy V. But he wrote about the fan translation community around Final Fantasy V, which is very fascinating.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what did you write about then with Kingdom Hearts? But what was your kind of
Where to
take on
begin?
it?
So where to begin? We almost had a glossary because my editor
Yeah.
came back and was like, so when you say Ansem, who do you mean?
I remember
and
you
I'm like,
telling me
which
about that as you
answer
were writing
is
it.
this?
Yeah.
I was like,
That
oh.
you just had to go like further and further into detail because
We had to make like a designated, like when I say this Ansem, I mean, but we'll get into that.
But is it like, was it story based? Is it kind of like going through the history of the franchise, or what's the point of the book?
So it is I would say it's a critical analysis. You take, it uses Kingdom Hearts 2 as the framework, but it pulls in elements of the first game and things that happened in later games, like Birth by Sleep, I mentioned quite frequently. And it's a analysis of the themes and the tropes and the through lines. Because what inspired me to write it was so many people are like, oh, that's just like Disney with some Final Fantasy garbage in it. Like it's a kid's game because Goofy's in it. But it's not a kid's game. And so I set to prove that it's more sophisticated than we think.
Cool.
And I hope I did a good job.
Well, that's exciting. If you're interested in that, go check it out. Amazon or bossfightbooks.com.
Bossfightbooks.com.
All right. What? So you've been playing Kingdom Hearts. Have you been playing anything else?
I heard you guys talking about earlier, and I was playing this as well, Crash Bandicoot. Because Crash is back.
Hell yeah. The Bandicoot has been saved. We did it. Oh my
We
God.
can go home.
So
We're
how?
good.
So
Yes.
you reviewed it at IGN.
Yes, I reviewed it at
didn't
IGN.
realize that. But
Yes,
you
yeah.
also wrote an amazing article
story is so
at
good.
IGN that I
Appreciate it.
highly recommend. Definitely look it up. What's the best
Thank
place?
you.
How could people find that easily?
Just probably my Twitter. It's my pinned tweet right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So that would be the easiest. But also on IGN, if you go search for Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, IGN, it'll be like one of the first stories that pops
Awesome.
up.
Yeah. It was a beautiful story.
Thank you. I
Super,
appreciate
super
that.
awesome. And I think that is why Crash is the Insane Trilogy is so important right now, is that I
Yeah.
feel like there's this new level of nostalgia and retro. Like retro is starting to mean something to a different wave of people, right?
Yes, yeah.
And so it's the people that grew up in the 90s playing games, not necessarily the 80s, that are remembering these games in a way that I think a lot of other people don't. So like Crash Bandicoot, to me, I grew up with it, and so I have such
Yeah.
fond memories of it. Now being able to go back, it's really exciting to me, not just to play it, but to see the reaction that the trilogy is getting right now.
Totally, yeah.
Because people are loving it online, and
Yep.
the amount of people that are just dedicating themselves to platinuming all three games and getting into it, and like seeing the like 100-page thread on NeoGAF, I'm like, wow, people are actually excited about Crash Bandicoot. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's crazy because leading up to it, we saw like all of the videos that we posted on IGN were always like the biggest videos of that week. And a lot of like the people who didn't grow up in that era were like, why is Crash doing so well? We don't understand. And it was like, because it's nostalgic to a specific era that
Yep.
you didn't happen to be a part of. But we have the people there, like me,
Yeah.
who love it. And so we were able to work towards it. And it's so much fun to see that.
And it's super cool. Last week, we did a show and we reviewed the game, and we were talking about the sales numbers. And back then, it was a little early. We weren't really getting too
Yeah.
much. But now we're seeing all this stuff where it's just like doing crazy numbers on
Yeah.
Amazon UK and stuff, like outselling Horizon. And I'm just like, holy crap. Like, we're going to get more Crash. This is insane.
Yeah, I
We
had
better
talked
at
to
this
them.
point.
I had actually talked to the producers of the game, the trilogy, before it came out, and was like, "Hey, so obviously, like, if this does well, do you guys want to see more?" And they're like, "We love Crash." Some of us worked on like later Crash games, like one of them worked on Crash Nitro Kart,
and then they
a
also
couple
worked on the GBA ones.
the later ones, yeah. And so they were like, "Of course, we'd love to keep going with it." So hopefully, this shows people that yes, there's more. Also, I'd like to take that time to petition a Spyro trilogy.
Dude, so
I would
here-
love that.
I need to ask.
Sliding that in there.
What,
Yeah,
what do
just
you
real quick,
what do you
just
want
Spyro.
most? Do you want a new Crash? Do you want Crash Team Racing, or do you want a Spyro trilogy?
Ooh, that's a really hard Mary Boff kill. I probably right now would take a Spyro trilogy just because I have the Crash trilogy sort of to satiate that appetite, and I could wait a little while for a new Crash after that. But I think Spyro right now. What about you?
What do you
Well, if
think?
you want more Spyro, you can always just play Skylanders.
True.
No, that's what they said about Crash. And,
Yeah.
and to be fair, the Crash segment in
It's great.
Skylanders is they really treated it with
It's
care, and
fantastic,
they like.
yeah.
I'm
It
happy we
shows.
got more than that.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, that was something. But what would you choose?
I think we're ready for a totally new Crash, so I'm going to put my vote there. I want
put
that
my
new
vote.
one.
Crash Team Racing.
Racing. Like they're all split. I
yeah,
like it,
but the thing is, I want all three. But man, really, like Crash Team Racing is such a special game to me. And
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily what because I think I just want a remake of it in the same way that the Insane Trilogy got a
Yeah.
remake. But then I don't know where it would stand compared to like Mario Kart 8, where it is now, because
Yeah.
that game has come so far.
There have been so many
I will
advancements.
fight till I die that Crash Team Racing is better than Mario Kart 64.
I would probably stand with you on that. Yeah,
I
would stand in
really
that
think
fight.
so. And the thing about a new Crash is I've been kind of worried about it, and I've been like, I don't want a new Crash, like, because it's just like it is
But you
stuck in a
do.
different era. But forever I was like, I don't.
Yeah.
But now playing through this, I'm like, now I do.
You want it.
Now I want it.
If they stuck to what made the originals great and didn't go in some of the past that the later games did, like Twinsanity or some of the others, like I'd worry that they'd get too far out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
That is these three games.
I enjoyed Twinsanity.
there are good parts of them, yeah.
But Wrath of Cortex sucked.
Yeah,
I didn't
Wrath
like that
was-
at all,
no.
and there was a lot of other missteps. But so how far are you in the game?
So I've beaten all three of them all the way through.
Do you have any
and-
plans to?
Oh, I'm
platinum
gonna
them?
platinum all three. Is my hope.
love you.
We'll see.
I love you.
I am the dedicated trophy person right now of the
Okay.
IGN staff.
Wow.
Trophies are my thing.
Okay.
So I am really trying to platinum all three of them. We'll see what happens. But that is my like in between other stuff. Yeah.
How far are you in?
I just finished the first one.
Okay, that
So
is
I'm working
quite
my
the
way
feat.
through. Oh yeah.
Crash 1 has just some utter bullshit in it.
Road to Nowhere.
But that's what
Come
makes
on.
it like so
Yeah.
endearing.
Yeah, I love it. So I've beaten all three. Last week I only
Yeah.
beat 2 and 3. So I beat 1 this time, and now I told myself that I wasn't gonna platinum them, but now I'm like,
But kinda have to.
Anytime I have a break, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get the relic in this level and just keep it like, 2 hours later. I'm like, I'm in it. So I'm loving it. You playing anything else?
Crash, I finally played Nex Machina. From Housemarque.
How you liking it?
I've skipped a couple of the more recent Housemarque games just because of timing and everything.
Resogun.
But I played Resogun and Super Stardust are like big for me, but sort of Alienation and things like that. But I love it. I got hooked. I lost just like 2 hours over the weekend. I was like, I'll try this for 5 minutes, sit down, and then I was just hooked. It's really fun.
Yeah. Greg's
just that
liking it a
score
lot,
attack
too.
sort of thing.
Yeah. Cool. Now, next segment, my favorite segment of this show now. This week in gaming history.
Ooh.
Every week, I choose a couple games. I just look at whatever happened in history this week, and I go through it. No real number, but this week, we got 5. 1 year ago, on July 7th, 2016, Pokemon Go came out.
Never heard of it.
It was a whole year at this point. Were you addicted to this?
No, I have a very.
Really?
If you're a What's Good Games watcher, I have a very specific issue with Pokemon Go.
Which is?
I think it is crap. Oh. It's BS to me.
I mean,
I can't.
I stand by. I think what that game did for social interaction and community building was unlike anything we've seen in video games before.
Social interaction, yes. Losing weight while walking around, yes. But this isn't fun. Until they revamp those battles and you can actually fight other trainers and trade. Like I'm not there.
I think they did recently. I'm so
they did,
out of
and
it.
it's still this.
It's
still tapping.
Okay.
You tap.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played since.
I haven't played the
You're
update
fine.
either, but yeah, it was one of those things where I loved that time. Like I have huge fond memories of playing Pokemon Go when it first came out, but it was never about how much fun I had playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
It was about the people I was playing with.
Yeah.
And the
silly
conversations you had
adventures.
based on it. I mean, again, for me, it really was about my non-gaming friends and seeing them get hooked on a real life like fetch quest. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. But what blew my mind was maybe 6-7 months after it came out, I went down to LA to a Microsoft thing, and all the people there were still playing it. I'm like, this is just part of your daily routine is to like go to the pier and try to get freaking Dragonites. I'm like, all right, like I guess, but it just blows my mind. People are still playing it as much
Andrew
as they are.
Goldfarb.
Andrew Goldfarb
still plays every day.
He is. Yeah, but Andrew Goldfarb, there's something broken about that man. You know what I mean?
He loves that game.
He does.
I
He
sit
really
across
does.
from him. I know him well.
2 years ago, on July 7th, 2015, Rocket League came out on PS4 and PC.
A modern classic.
Rocket League,
You guys,
yeah.
it is a modern classic.
Yeah.
You big into it?
Oh yeah, love Rocket League. Can't wait for on Switch.
Yeah.
I'm never
gosh.
gonna stop playing at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be
That
great.
game was made for Switch.
Yes, 100%.
Like imagine being in the park with your friends and just not doing outside things,
Yeah.
sitting in a circle, playing
Just
Rocket
playing
League.
that.
I mean, my favorite thing is, it's a little old at this point, but how much we all made fun of the Nintendo Switch commercials and being like, nobody does that.
Oh, no, we
And
are all Karen now.
Everyone
Yes.
does. We're
We're all Karen.
We
Yeah.
are all Karen.
My first like 2 weeks with it, I kept taking photos of all my friends when we were out, and it was like at dinner we'd be playing it.
Yep.
Before a movie started, we're playing it in our seats like together. It was nonstop.
It's awesome. 7 years ago, on July 6th, 2010, Crackdown 2 came out on Xbox 360. 7 years ago.
That's not
And
a bad gap. Not
Considering-
bad considering what we're about to talk about.
Exactly. Oh, that's
From
true.
another two.
That is true. 17 years ago, on July 7th, 2000, Final Fantasy 9 came out in Japan on PlayStation.
Oh my gosh, I love
Where does
Final
9
Fantasy
fall in your...
9 is so my top two, like maybe like half a point, it's 6 and 9. Yeah.
Wasn't gonna say it.
I didn't do it.
9 is very special to me. 9 I also played with my little brother, the same little brother who played Kingdom Hearts with me in my whole big like Kingdom Hearts story. But 9 just sort of really opened up the epic for me, like the new modern like JRPG epic. And all my friends were talking about it. So that was the thing that we sort of bonded over. And then 10 years later, I was in like a massive cosplay group with a bunch of people for Final Fantasy 9. And that brought all of us back together. And we're all remote. Some were living in New York, some were in Boston. And we all played like via Skype and like made our costumes together. So like that game's very special to me.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Where does it fall in your ranking?
I have actually not played 9. Sorry, Alexa. I'll leave now.
No, that's okay. There are much worse. You could do worse.
It totally was a time when it came out. It passed me by, and then I never went back to it. I've been meaning to go back to a few of the Final Fantasies I've missed, but
Give 9 a shot. It looks a little janky because of where it fell on the technology spectrum.
Yeah.
If you can like play it on PlayStation 3 or play it on your Vita if you use your Vita like a Final Fantasy machine like I do. But if you can get a PS1 disc and play it in its original form, like that kind of nostalgia.
Still holds up. Okay.
You know, go find a PS1 and
Yeah,
pick it up.
Just make it happen.
There's one in a box back home.
Yeah, Final
There you
Fantasy
go.
9 was so interesting because I feel like Square would never do that nowadays, where
No.
it's like, all right, cool, 7, 8, you can see the natural kind of progression there in terms of art style and all that, and then for them to be like, all right, cool, we're going back to our like real roots. Like even 6, you can see the jump from 6 to 7.
Yep.
Obviously, there's a console difference there, or generation difference, and just from 2D to 3D.
Yeah.
But the style still is kind of similar. And then for 9 to go back to the more old Final Fantasy vibe and like that more the fantasy aspects of it, it was like very not brave, but like it was just like that came out of nowhere, and I feel like it paid off for them. But then at the same time, then you saw 10, and 10 was kind of like a weird halfway point. But I love 10 so much.
Me too.
Yeah.
We can have another Gamescast about Final Fantasy X and how great it is. But 6 to 7 was the steampunk jump. And then they went back, and then 9 brought all the mysticism back. Like, yeah, 10 was weird, but also like 12 was like super weird.
Yeah.
I don't like 12.
I also don't like Final Fantasy 12.
Oh,
This is
really?
why we get along. It was
Yeah.
my least favorite Final Fantasy. I thought it was
IGN
awful.
saying it's
Yep.
the number one Final Fantasy. Like, come on, Marty Sleeva, get the fuck out of
Calling you out, Marty. It's bullshit.
It was definitely all Marty. Blame Marty.
here. Yeah, I totally do, and I always will.
Me too.
And then finally, 21 years ago, on July 5th,
Ooh.
1996, Nights into Dreams came out
Wow.
on the Sega Saturn. Wow.
That's a game.
That is a game. What are your guys' memories of Nights?
I was 4 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
so not too many. Also didn't have a Saturn, to be fair.
Who did?
But yeah. No, for me, it was like my Sega lineage is pretty much just all Sonic. I know very little bit about Knights. Yeah.
I played Knights the same way I played Spyro, which was on a friend's console after our like young kids study group in our elementary school. We would all like do the thing, and then we would all go over someone's house to play, and we would all be crammed into his room playing his games while our parents like had coffee and talked about how they were worried for our
Adult
future in the
stuff.
other room.
Yeah, and here you are.
Video games.
You did it.
We did it.
Yeah. Knights holds a very special place in my heart because I never owned it. I didn't own a Saturn. And platformers will always be my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than me than 90s mascot characters. So I was a big Sonic guy, I was a big Mario guy, I was a big Crash guy. And when we made that jump to the next generation, like obviously Mario 64 was mind-blowing. Crash Bandicoot took 2D platforming and just put it into its version of 3D. Then I saw at Toys R Us, there was a demo kiosk of Knights, and I was like, okay, cool. Sega's obviously pushing this as their mascot because there wasn't a Sonic game at the time on Saturn. Eventually, Sonic like 3D Blast came out, and that was also it was a whole disaster.
3D
We know how
Blast.
that
Yeah.
ended.
Yeah, poorly. But with Knights, I was like, oh man, I really want to give it a shot. And it was the one game that I would go to Toys R Us just to play the demo because I loved it so much.
How long would you spend? Like
A lot. I mean, it was one of those things where it was a timed demo, so I think it was just 10 minutes, and then it would
just
turn off.
replay.
But I would just keep playing it over and over. And
That's
it was a game that like I would fantasize about because I was like, I didn't know what it was, and I only had such limited experience with it
Yeah.
that I made that game into something that it is not. But in my head, I would always think like when I was at home, like, oh man, I want to play that Knights game. And then it eventually, Knights 2 came out on Wii, and I was super stoked. I'm like,
right,
I'm
yeah.
getting in this. And that's what I realized. Knights.
no.
Not as
Not
good.
so much.
Not as
Yeah.
good. I romanticized it so much, and
Yeah.
what was crazy about it is it was so hard to get your hands on it because not only did no one I know have a Saturn, in the following years, everything like emulators and ROMs became huge, and you could play any game you wanted except for Saturn games. Like I'm sure nowadays that they figured it out, but like even now, it's like Saturn games aren't on Virtual Console and all that stuff.
Yeah.
At least I might be talking out of my ass there.
Not
but
that I'm aware of.
yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
that is kind of a forgotten era of games, but you tried, Knights. You tried. All right, now let's get to it. Topic of the show: Kingdom Hearts.
All right.
I feel like this
Just overall.
conversation has been brewing for like 5 or 6
Yeah.
years now. So JD and I
ahead.
met when I was working at Polygon, and JD was our intern. And he was like 3 weeks into the job, and someone posted about Kingdom Hearts in the internal Slack, and we were both like, "Bleh." And so we were like, wait, you like Kingdom Hearts too? So this has been like brewing.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
excited.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
So there's not really a actual focal point of this. It's just kind of just talking about Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts
boy.
3, obviously, it's coming. Let's start off.
Do you have like 7 hours? Is
I know,
you
right?
need to guide this discussion because it's
Yeah.
going to get off the rails
Oh, yeah.
immediately.
I just want to kind of have that discussion go. So the trailer, we know we're getting it in like a week and a half at D23.
July 15th, 1 p.m.
Yeah. We know that it's going to reveal a new world,
Yes.
and that's pretty much all that we know about it.
Yes.
So what do you guys expect to see from that?
Would you like to
Are
go
we looking
first?
why don't you start?
So, something that has been rumored for a very long time. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but like 4 years ago, before they actually announced Kingdom Hearts 3 proper at E3, there was this video floating around the internet, or people were talking about this video, where it was Sora running around with Buzz Lightyear in some sort of like Andy's bedroom scape. And then it like disappeared, and everyone's been talking about it for a long time. I firmly believe that given the investment in the Toy Story empire and just like things I've heard people say, I feel like that might be what we see next week finally. Because if you notice, all of the worlds that have been announced up to this point, Tangled, Big Hero 6, did they announce Hercules?
I mean, by default.
Yeah.
Hercules, and then there's another Pixar CGI one that got annought
Of course, we're blanking
I
on this
don't
one.
think so.
or not. Or
'Cause
maybe I'm like making stuff up.
Tangled was the
big
one. It's
first
not
one, and then
Pixar, but
Big
I'm
Hero
thinking
6,
I'm thinking of Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
They're all modern-ish properties and ones that had explosive modern followings, and I feel like they'd be foolish not to include it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
feel like they're saving it for last though, because like Tangled is like okay, and Big Hero 6 was like all right. I feel like this is the one. If
Yeah.
they're holding out for that last trailer before we get the like, and here's the release date, and we're almost done or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like now would be the time to drop that.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to bring it up though. Frozen, like.
They'd be dumb not to include it.
Isn't that
Yeah.
the most likely thing for them to announce?
Japan loves Frozen.
yeah.
I mean, the
it has
world
to
The
be.
world loves Frozen.
Yeah.
But because I think Toy Story is what we all want. But I
Yes.
think the easy bet would be that this trailer shows off Frozen
Why
just
not
to like.
both?
I mean, well,
Yeah.
you're right. That would be well. They said one new world.
They did say one.
They
And
could lie.
they could lie, but I don't.
They're
think
really
that-
good
Yeah.
at lying.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
saying.
yeah. They're also really good at just putting out information that's just absolutely wrong, and they don't even know that. Like last year with the more information in the winter. It's like okay, well, winter's
And then
passed.
winter, yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you think we're
But
gonna see?
I think Pixar, Frozen is the obvious like safe bet to me, and I think it'll at some point be revealed as a portion of this game somehow. It has to be.
Has to be.
But my bet would be on Pixar, whether it's Toy Story or maybe Incredibles even, because obviously we have another Incredibles coming. Both of those series have new entries coming. They haven't had Pixar yet, and like more so than Marvel or Star Wars, like of the Disney empire, I want Pixar in there, and it just feels right.
Yeah.
And so that's what I believe the new world will be.
I was so impressed playing Kingdom Hearts 2 when the Pirates world came up, just because it felt
Yes.
so
Yeah.
different than the rest of the worlds. Like the rest of them
Yeah.
were classic Disney, and it made sense. Seeing that, I was like, man, this game's really taking risks and really like trying to up the ante.
Yeah.
And I feel like since then, with all the other Kingdom Hearts games that aren't numbered proper ones, we've seen a lot of rehashes of different worlds, and we've seen a couple of the worlds that still make sense. Like they feel like they could have been in the other Kingdom Hearts. And
Disney
I-
Princess Worlds or
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like that Pixar is so similar to that it is just still at home. But like, I wonder if they would do the Marvel or Star Wars. I feel like it's too good to be true, and my money would say no.
Yeah. I'm going to also put my money on no. I feel like it's not they're not original Disney properties, and I feel like they're so ingrained on the like what is true and like the true purity of like Disney whatever. But also if they want Marvel and they want Star Wars, speaking from a business perspective, the amount of money that they're going to have to shell out to get any of those properties is one, big, and then two, you have all of the different like Marvel things. You have Inhumans, and then you have like the X-Men movies, and then you have the Marvel like Captain America films, and you have every TV show ever, the Guardians of the Galaxy animated series, and then in Star Wars, everything is changing. So they're not. That's under such lock and key. I feel like they wouldn't get the keys to be like, oh, let's include characters from episode 9 in Kingdom Hearts or something like that. I just don't think that that's a priority for either one of those properties. But
Yeah, like all these worlds are like Disney animation studios for the most part, except for like Pirates.
Pirates
But
and Tron.
Yeah, but at
I
least
forgot about Tron.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
But all of those come from like that studio, whereas like just legally like having to deal with Marvel Games and Marvel Studios and like Marvel Comics
Yeah.
for a world like that would probably be just a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, my thing is looking at it. I think that Star Wars is the least likely. I think
Yeah.
Marvel's a bit more likely,
More
just
than Star
because
Wars,
Marvel Games has been so good about trying to build out its like catalog
Yeah.
of
And Big Hero
games.
6, even though it is
Yeah.
an animated Disney movie, it is
It's still
based on a
technically Marvel.
property.
Yeah. My thing is, if we get Marvel, I think it will be Marvel Universe. I think it'll be similar to like Lego Marvel superheroes, where it is just kind of everybody doing that.
Yeah.
The thing that really makes me believe they're not going to do it is when you think about what Kingdom Hearts actually is, it's the Disney movies storylines condensed.
Yep.
That's what the worlds are, right? What would they do for Marvel? Like, I feel like without having that framework, it'd be interesting. But that's another thing about Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, how many times can they do that? How many times can we just get the story? And that's why we saw Aladdin, and then it was kind of the Return of Jafar story in 2. And it's like, they're not going to give us Aladdin King of Thieves, even though they should.
That would be, I would love to play through that. That's
Yeah.
a good
That'd be fun.
movie.
Yeah, it
I
really
like
is.
it. I feel like, so if we want to get really into the granular here, so that trailer that we just saw where they're in the Hercules, they're not, if you look at it, they're not in the Colosseum. They're in like a almost like on Mount Olympus. They're the you
it seems
dive
like
in the
they're going up
clouds
now. Yeah.
and there's like a bunch of different like enemy types we haven't seen that look a little bit different, and then you have Hades coming out and talking to Maleficent and Pete, and I feel like maybe what's happening here is they're moving away from the storyline because this is an area we haven't seen that area in the actual Hercules movie. So maybe they're taking the time to build a different
Flesh the world
storyline.
out of it,
And
yeah.
maybe that's why this game is taking so long. Because
Yeah.
someone walked into Nomura's office and said, hey man, you gotta stop doing that. Because every single game has been go to the world, solve the problem that they already solved themselves without you there. Yay. Like get in there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna introduce a little negativity into this conversation.
Go
So I played the hell out of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 back in the day. Birth by Sleep, loved it. I even played Chain of Memories on GBA and enjoyed it for what it was. I understood it was a
Did you
GBA
play the
game.
PlayStation 2 version?
Did not. No.
Ooh, okay.
Is that
How do you feel about the difference between them?
I liked the PlayStation 2 version because there were better boss fights, and all of
Okay,
the organization members that you never got to fight in Chain of Memories in the Game Boy version, you got to fight in the PlayStation 2 version, which was nice.
I really like the art of the GBA version, but yeah, having that ability was great.
So I played through those, and then I'm pretty sure Birth by Sleep was when I was like, all right, cool. Like I feel good about that. I waited again so long for that game. Like that reminded me of what we're going through now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to even think about because I remember getting Kingdom Hearts 1 and just being blown away, and then thinking about Kingdom Hearts 2, and it came out 4 or 5 years later.
I think it's 4.
I mean, even then, 4 years. That is such a long time for a game sequel to come out because back then things were annual and like you kind of expected. Even the Final Fantasy games were coming out at a rapid pace. And so I remember getting Kingdom Hearts 2 and just being like, I can't believe I waited this long for a video game, and now to look at 3, it's like the biggest joke in the
It's been
world.
10
longer.
years.
Yeah.
I was still in high school when they.
But then, so I took kind of a break. I played through, I think the last Kingdom Hearts game I played was Dream Drop Distance.
I'm sorry.
And I didn't like it. I didn't play the 360.
0.2 final chapter
Well,
prologue.
then that was the most recent one
Okay.
that I did play through.
You didn't play 358.
I didn't.
over
Yeah,
2 days.
that's the one.
DS. The
Yeah,
first
yeah.
DS
Didn't play
one.
the DS one, so I guess I've played most of them when I think about it. But
There you go.
But
Recoded.
They did feel a bit more forgettable to me than
Yeah.
the other ones did. But I also think I'm older and I'm in a different place. The reason I say that is I played through 0.2 final chapter prologue.
0.2,
Yeah.
Come on, Tim.
But I was just so lost, and I feel like so many people that aren't Kingdom Hearts fans make fun of the franchise because it's just ridiculous and story doesn't make sense and like it's overly dramatic and cheesy and all this stuff. And playing through it, like honestly, I agreed in a lot of ways where I was just like, man, am I remembering liking these games just based on their premise more than I actually like the games? And playing through that, where admittedly it's kind of like a weird half-step demo where it's like Ground Zeroes to Phantom Pain or something like that, and even I'd say even less than that.
It's definitely
Yeah.
less than that. It
Yeah.
is a playable. It is less than PT. It is a playable
Yeah.
proof of concept of here's how the game looks running in Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Here are the better mechanics and the better fight animations. Bye.
Yeah,
Like that's it.
And from the story, I liked the kind of angle that we got of just seeing the other side of the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. Like, let's go.
That was
Yeah,
a cool thing.
I love that.
There's just something about like the dialogue and how it's all going where I'm like, I just don't know that I am interested anymore. And I worry about Kingdom Hearts 3's place in the world when it comes out. Like, do you think that it's going to just keep that train going? Or do you think that they're going to try to not have a reboot, but at least have a refresh point for people to jump in and just be like, you didn't need to play all the other stuff? Because I feel like if they just start that game with like a 15-minute cinematic trying to explain everything, it's not going to work.
No. Also, they're probably not going to... If there's a 15-minute opening cinematic, it's going to be some incomprehensible people falling through water and flying around with feather explosions and like everything that they've had so far. I do think they need some sort of meaningful recap for Kingdom Hearts 3. If you go back and look at interviews with Nomura, though, which I did much of that as I was writing my book, he said at some point in the past 2 years that he wants Kingdom Hearts 3 to have a cold open. Yeah. Where you're just going to start and you go. And it's like, please don't do that. Yeah. Like, if you're someone like us, like, that's fantastic. That works, like, picking up 0.2 and just jumping right into it, I knew exactly what was going on. This is why Aqua's here. This is where she is. This is why this mechanic makes sense. This is why this conversation makes sense. But for anyone else who hasn't played maybe since like 2, like if you only played 1 and 2, you're not going to know what the heck's going on. Yeah. Which sucks because it's Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being able to jump off of 2 to 3 would make logical sense. But yeah, I feel like those sort of interviews about how it's going to be just a fresh, like you just jump in, you're in the game. Them releasing the collection on the PS4 and 0.2, like within a month of each other, was kind of like, hey, here's your primer.
Get hyped.
Like that is that is the thing. Yeah. And then maybe in 3 to 4 years the game will come out. But
I just think that that's too much information to throw at someone, and it's too. Like those games they're old, you know. So like even playing through them now, it's like it's a different time. Like I tried playing the HD remixes and I put some time into it, but I couldn't bring myself to beat the games again. And I'm like, that worries me that if you throw that at someone for the first time, like, hey, just play all these games and then you're gonna want to play 3. Like I just don't know that that's gonna work. However, the game's selling super well. Like Kingdom Hearts is still super relevant because Kingdom Hearts HD Remix 1.5 plus 2.5. Did I say that correct?
Yes.
Whatever. Yeah. That's like on the Amazon bestseller list, and like it's one of the best-selling games of 2017.
Yeah. Like Final Chapter Prologue was like a top seller on the PSN store that month when it came out. Yeah, like they're doing well. It's just it's asking a lot of people. Big
question for this trailer that we're about to get.
Yes.
Are we finally going to get the Kingdom Hearts 3 song?
The song.
Because I feel like Kingdom Hearts and music
I thought you were going to say something else. But
what
release date, I assume.
Oh, we'll get to that.
We'll get there.
But my thing is I feel like the songs and like the theme to each game is so important to the memories you have with it. Yeah. And like Simple and Clean with Kingdom Hearts 1 and then Passion with Kingdom Hearts 2, like, or Sanctuary, whatever. That really kind of set the tone for those games, and I feel like we've just heard those songs 10,000 times since for every Hikari
remix.
Yeah,
exactly. Been a lot of remixes. Yeah.
And so it's like, are we gonna get a new song? And do you think we're gonna see it next week or in 2 weeks?
So I think we might. I attended the Kingdom Hearts Orchestra, and I was one of the first people to see that trailer.
I was there too.
Oh yeah, really where were you sitting?
I was in the top.
Like, I was like right up against the stage.
That must have been awesome.
Being all nerdy.
When they all came out, that must have been so cool.
I totally didn't know he was coming, and I totally freaked out. And the arrangement that they played, so they played a new arrangement live over the trailer.
It was so cool.
And that arrangement's new.
Yeah.
Like I have so many like boss battle Kingdom Hearts songs on my workout playlist. I know them all by heart. I can like recognize them by 4 bars. That's a new arrangement.
Yeah.
I think we might. I feel like Yoko Shimomura, I feel like part of the you know the whole story with the Final Fantasy 15 soundtrack? No? Okay, so I've heard some things that the Final Fantasy 15 soundtrack, the reason it sounds so different is that a lot of it was ghost written. Like people worked with Shimomura. She didn't write all of it. So she had a lot of help. It's a good soundtrack. I love it.
I love most of it. I think that's one of my favorite things about that game.
Yeah, it's a nice like different sound. But I think that I heard that she was spending a lot of time at like Kingdom Hearts was her big project, and 15 sort of. She worked on like the boss stuff, and then she had people come in. So I've also heard from some people that like she put a lot of love into the Kingdom Hearts 3 soundtrack, which makes it sound like it's done if people are talking about it already.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get the song.
That would be great.
No, it would be fantastic, and it's definitely
dropping a little.
Yeah. Knowledge.
You know,
That's
just a little
behind the
bit.
scenes shit. So, okay, talking about release date.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not getting a release date. Like, there's no way that they're going to drop an actual
I would not be shocked
date.
if there was a release window tagged to the end of this trailer.
Window.
Then it gets delayed. Then it's delayed 6 months.
100%.
Like fall 2018, and then it gets delayed to spring 2019. Like that is what I
feel
see.
like we need that, though.
Yes,
I feel like
yeah.
I need to see a year.
Oh, yes, of
to
course.
at
I
least give a
totally-
frame of
yeah.
reference of what we're supposed to be thinking
Yeah.
about. Which, to my knowledge, there's never been even any date attached to it.
No.
So it's
No
never
date.
been delayed.
Yeah,
technically.
I feel like
It's
there will
just-
always. I'll see people comment and pop up and be like, "No, they said this year," and it's like they said maybe sometime soon you'll find out something,
Yeah,
but there was
now
never
in
like
progress.
a year. Yeah,
now
got
in development.
that first announcement.
Yeah.
I was interning with Polygon at the time, and I was at that press conference when the trailer came out. I cried. when I
Oh
see
my
it.
God.
I remember like the video editors with me were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm
Yep.
like, "No, I'm fine."
I mean, I couldn't
good.
believe it happened. Like, I was at IGN at the time, and one of our producers, or the producers there, Caleb Lawson, he for some reason he knew what was happening. Like, he
Yeah.
got some briefing or whatever, and we were talking about it before, and he straight up lied to me, and he was like, "Yeah, no, you're not going to get Final Fantasy versus
Versus
13,
13.
Yeah.
or Kingdom Hearts."
Hearts.
And
Oh,
then it was
man.
back to back,
Caleb.
and I was just like,
Yeah.
"Are you
Yep.
fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very magical time, and
yeah.
here we
Yes.
are, many years
Years
later.
later.
Still there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was when Final Fantasy 15 was announced
Was
as Final
revealed
Fantasy
as-
15.
Yes.
And I loved that moment where it just like the thing shattered and just the title
yeah.
changed. Oh, that was so awesome. Man, so okay. 2018 is what we expect this thing to end with, right?
I'm expecting the level of polish on that trailer. I watched that trailer many times in case it's not evident. I think the level of polish on that trailer indicates that it is farther along than we think.
Yes,
The combat was too refined, and also we saw elements in that combat scene that we've seen in other ones. So it's the
Yeah.
same thing. They've refined it. That's it. It has to be locked in.
Yeah.
I am betting holiday 2018. I'm betting we get it
Yep.
next October, November, maybe.
Huh. See, that's interesting. Kingdom Hearts, I'm pretty sure, tend to come out earlier in the year. Is that
2
right?
was definitely
They've come
early
out in
the
March.
year.
It came out in
yeah.
Yeah, March.
But there's no way that this thing's done by
Done
next
by March?
No.
Maybe
Now,
not.
The thing about what you're saying that I don't believe is that it looks far enough along that it has to be out
Okay.
soon. Because even in the first trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, I was like, oh, we're getting gameplay?
Yeah.
Like, there was gameplay in that. And like when we saw the Final Fantasy 7 remake trailer at PSX, there's gameplay. I'm like, how is this that far along and still that far out? Right? So it's like, I don't know if this says anything different.
Well, so to what Alexa was saying, like the Titan battle in this trailer, like there are shot-for-shot remakes of like that first trailer, and yeah, you see
I haven't seen that.
there's a change. Yeah, it was actually fun, like comparing the two, and you see that they have changed things. And
Okay.
so there's clearly been a lot of progress made. I still hold like I think clearly Hercules is the first world or one of the first.
It's got to be
worlds.
like the first or the second
Yeah.
one that you bumble into.
Yeah, so I think they're clearly holding things back, but I don't know if that's emblematic of where the progress of the actual full game is. So I could easily see a holiday 2018 bumped to March 2019.
See,
but,
there you go. That makes sense.
but they still could
Yeah.
stick to that.
I think it's holiday next year. It's got to be. Any longer than that, and like we're done. Like it's
yeah,
it's a decade. It's been a decade.
yeah.
yeah.
So
So you won't buy it then if it comes to
no, I will, and
I
I'll
know, I'm
probably
joking,
buy
I'm
it like on every platform and play it like 5 times through and cry.
Yep.
I think it has to be for relevance sake. Like there's the people like us that will always go for it, but for relevance
Yes.
sake, I think they don't have any major new games. Square Enix has no big major RPGs coming out, any big games coming out in the next few years. They have to. 15 is
Final
getting
Fantasy
well.
remake.
Well,
We'll see.
We'll see about that one.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about that. But like 15 is getting updated all throughout this year. The episode Ignis is coming out in December of this year. So that's like, I guess, the last big piece. So they need something in 2018, and I think it'll be Kingdom Hearts.
And I think the dual like trailers within a month of each other is so weird. Like that's
It's
a sign.
so
It is
Like, that is
weird.
not a thing people do.
Yeah.
Unless there's
No.
clearly they're ramping up to something, which I feel is definitely a sign.
It was weird that he didn't come to E3. Like Nomura
Yeah.
was like, I'm here just for this concert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird that they didn't show anything in E3 or wrap anything in. They didn't even show the trailer at the booth.
At a
I never saw it.
conference. Yeah. Yeah.
It was like,
At the Square booth?
yeah. Did you see it?
I don't remember seeing
I
it.
think
Maybe.
I'm
Did they
pretty
maybe
sure
play
it
it
was
after
playing.
Was it a
that?
point two?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, they
yeah,
had
yeah.
no like stuff up. They had
Yeah,
no.
no,
like,
no, no. The Square booth this year was weird, just in general.
That was weird.
A lot of the booths at E3 were weird, where it was
a
lot-
different year.
There was just videos playing, and like there wasn't even anything to play.
Yeah.
But no. All right, some questions from the audience here.
Ooh.
Cool.
This section brought to you by Patreon producer Tom Bach. Thank you very much for supporting the show, making things happen. You are the man, the myth, the legend. This comes from Alex Redneck. What worlds do you want in Kingdom Hearts 3? Specifically, which worlds should return and which should be omitted?
Get rid of Atlantica. We
Yeah.
don't need
Oh,
that
it's
shit
just not
anymore.
fun.
Yeah. After what they did in 2, please.
Oh, that was bad.
Yep.
God, that was so bad.
I'll take, if you want a water-based level, I'll take Moana. If you want to do something recent.
I feel like Moana's a little too recent.
It is, but if you want to do something water-based, like, I'd dig that.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. That'd be great. I love
If The
Moana.
Rock is in Kingdom Hearts 3,
Oh
I
my
would,
God.
I'd flip
Yes.
out. That'd be amazing.
so awesome.
That would be awesome. And then he's a summon. Imagine him as
Oh
like
my
your
God,
summon.
that would be
What
great.
his,
If
like-
Maui is your summon,
Or just The Rock is the song.
yeah,
I'd be down
Rock.
for that
Yeah,
too.
just a live action.
You know, it's crazy because I haven't really thought about the worlds in Kingdom Hearts for a while, but like just in this conversation, like talking about Kingdom Hearts 2, they really kind of nailed it. Whether it's the Steamboat Willie section or
That was
Tron or
amazing.
Pirates or
Yeah.
Lion King, like it would to me was such a step up from Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah.
That like I don't know really which ones I need to be omitted. I feel like we've seen Hercules so often, but we're getting it again.
Yeah.
Aladdin is the one where it's like Aladdin's my favorite Disney movie, but I don't know that we need
Yeah.
Well, I think
Agrabah again.
the world of Aladdin has room to play in. Like the reason they're bringing Hercules back is because the idea of a Colosseum where you can do time trials and score chase and whatever, it's an easy sell. And also just Hades, I guess, was a really popular character from the way
And
that they
he's
used
freaking
him in the
cool.
first couple
Yeah.
of games. So like, okay, fine, you can have that. But I feel like there's so much to play with in the world of Agrabah and just the general mythos of it that it would be worth bringing back if they're playing around and not using storylines.
Yeah. That's true.
They can get rid of Alice in Wonderland. We don't need that anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
We're done.
What about Halloween Town?
Halloween
What do you
Town, they
think?
absolutely has to come back
I
because that's
really
a
love that.
fun world
Yeah,
to
I
play
love
in.
that
Two
world.
so see.
Yeah.
I'm taking back everything. I want to replay 2 now. God, what a great lineup.
Yeah.
What else was in 1? There was
When you had Halloween Town, Monstro,
Monstro.
Agrabah, Hercules.
The Neverland clock tower,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the split.
Yeah.
yeah. You're on the ship and then, at the clock tower.
Because they had the Disney
Thinking of the
princesses there.
map.
The Cinderella world and the Sleeping Beauty world came in
later.
Birth by Sleep.
Yeah. Which I feel like things were starting to get too samey at that point.
Yeah.
With some of the princess worlds.
So, I mean, and I guess another question I have is I love Kingdom Hearts 1's like plot based off, especially like towards the later game
Yeah.
when it wasn't just the, hey, do the Disney movie and go through its story, but it was the end where it's like there's the 7 princesses and it like created like a world within Disney and it made it super RPG and cool.
Yeah.
And then I feel like they kind of since then have went off the deep end of their like the original character story and the organization and all that stuff.
That's
and
a fair
it was
assessment.
cool,
Yeah.
but now it's just so in the weeds of how many anthems are there and who's Xenohort versus
Time travel, body snatching, like you name
Computers
it. They do
are
computers.
the solution for everything sometimes.
You can, you can record people on computers. Like
Yeah.
it's okay.
What would you want to see Kingdom Hearts 3 do in terms of all of that?
I really want them to take back the time travel. I was very upset when they
Yeah.
introduced
Take
the time
back
travel.
the time
Because
travel.
now
Yeah.
they have this, like, this is super spoilery. We've mentioned a
Whatever.
couple things
Yeah.
already. They kind of like, it's like Nomura read Harry Potter and went, I'm going to do that. And then made the like Horcrux setup for Xehanort.
Yeah.
So you kill the seven Xehanorts or you have the 13 Xehanorts
yeah.
and you have to get them all together to make the Uber Xehanort. And then there's the whole like nobody, person, heartless, or if you kill them all and in a certain order, the person comes back to life. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Stop.
Can we have like one normal game where people just like live and die like normal human beings? Because I feel like what this series needs is consequence. There's no
Yeah.
consequence for dying. There's no consequence for becoming a heartless or a nobody, which is supposed to be like the worst thing that can happen to you in
Yeah.
this universe. So give us some sort of physical consequence, and then I'll listen.
Yeah. Like when that happens to Sora at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, that is a huge impactful moment when he becomes the Heartless, and then things can just happen all the time now.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
like I think the mix of the Disney balance and the original story that 1 really nailed at the end is sort of what I would want, and like the beginning of 2 and parts of 2. I'd like them to scale back a little.
Yeah.
Obviously they have to take so much into account now, but if they can sort of narrow it down to the essence,
I would do
think there's a
anything
way.
for it to be a reboot. I know that we're like way past that at this point, but I just feel like they fudged everything up so much that it's just and is that a fair thing to say? Like as people that love them, like do you think they fudged it up or?
I think someone, and that someone is Nomura, I think someone looked at what they had and Square maybe said, I mean, from a business standpoint, maybe said, okay, make more of these. People love these. How can we expand the story? And I feel like the original scripters had a really tight storyline that then got completely blown up, because you can see points where things get blown up. Like you said, the first game has that really great through line. 2 had a really great through line as well. And then everything else just completely went to shit.
With every new side
element
story.
they added.
Yeah, you have
Side
to then
story.
take that
And
into
nobodies
account.
and all that stuff.
It's interesting that we were talking about Disney worlds and no Final Fantasy worlds.
Well, I think that the franchise has kind of given up on that in a lot
think
of
so?
ways, right? Like the Final Fantasy stuff was always just more of side characters just kind of being there. And I feel like as the games went on, they got less and less focused on the Final Fantasy side of things. Is that...
Well, they introduced more original characters for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like
Exactly.
they fell by the wayside as a consequence. But then, like in Dream Drop Distance, they throw in the World Ends With You characters
Yeah, that was
too.
weird.
Yeah, like they still are aware that Square exists.
Yeah.
Within this universe, but it's definitely never been the focus after 2.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But yeah,
Yeah.
if they put Midgar in, sure, go ahead.
Oh,
I mean, they might. With the 7 remake coming in,
Yeah.
it might be like a, hey,
We have all
drag and
this
drop
work.
some assets.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
There you go.
Dot save Kingdom Hearts.
Let's see. Big Dylan J. This is a big one. We're going to just gut instincts.
Okay.
Rank the Kingdom Hearts games. And I feel with this, there's the question of which ones matter. Which ones do you need to play?
Bottom of the list, just Recoded.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it.
Yeah.
Here, that's it. Don't play
Recoded is-
Recoded or
yeah.
Coded. Don't play
Yes, either version of Coded. Yeah.
Coded. And then right above that, I would say is 358 over 2 days,
Yeah.
because I thought that game was just very badly, like, had no good narrative through line. Combat was boring.
Yeah.
It was repetitive.
Great name, though.
358 over 2 days. Do you know what it
Confuse the
stands
hell out of
for?
people.
No.
Oh, I love the explanation.
I'm not going to
Please.
tell you.
Yeah, that's actually.
Google it.
Yeah, it's really fun.
You need
Okay.
to, and
Yeah.
then the crushing weight of what it means will just hit you.
The quote about it.
Actually, no, you know what? I almost want to put Dream Drop Distance under Coded.
Okay. Under.
Under Coded.
the
Or
worst.
maybe like
I would do-
slightly, I'd put Dream Drop Distance under 358 over 2 days.
Okay.
Because it was all mechanics. Like,
Yeah, it is.
They could have condensed that story into something maybe the size of 0.2.
Yeah,
But they blew
they
out
drag
this
it out.
game, and they had the Pokemon like element where you could like rub the
The
tummies of these
Dream Eaters,
creatures
yeah,
and
like, I'm
feed
good.
them. Yeah, I like didn't want to do that, so they
Yeah.
were never. I never had anyone fighting with me because I never
Because
powered
I
them
didn't
up.
care about that. Yeah.
And then the drop system where the game would force you to change between Sora and Riku, and it was indiscriminate about when it dropped you. And if you didn't have these special items that were actually pretty hard to find, you couldn't stop the timer and stay as Sora or Riku. So I can't tell you the number of times I was in a boss battle and got
God,
dropped
yeah.
and then had to go back and do the whole boss battle again. So that game was just a failed mechanics experiment, and I'm really glad that none of that has carried into the current games.
A little bit of the flow motion has, but like
Little bit.
I'm okay with that to
Yeah.
the extent that it works for platforming. But
Yeah. So we're at, where are we? Coded, DDD,
358.
358.
Yeah, those back and forth for me, but I'm okay with that there.
I kind of want to slot Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 1, Birth by Sleep 2.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm with you on the top four for sure.
I can live with that. So I would put 1 only above Birth by Sleep because my thing about 1 is I think the level design of 1 is really unique in the franchise because it was more like platforming based.
It was very platforming.
Frustrating.
It can be, but I just liked that additional element was in there, and that they have the flow motion back, and that they clearly are doing bigger worlds. I feel like that might come back a little bit.
Okay.
But it's definitely, it was never like the highlight of the series for me was the platforming, but I just like that variation was in there.
Okay.
But
so do we all
two at the
agree that
top.
2 is the top?
2 is
Yes.
the best
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
okay. I think
Yeah.
so as well. For me, the Birth by Sleep 1, it's not as easy as I thought. Like you saying, like the order, I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. But now that I think about it, like the plot of 1, I enjoyed so much.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, that end game story when it all kind of came together and like him turning into Heartless. And all
Yeah,
that,
I
it's
think
like,
the end stretch of that game is
that might put it above Birth by Sleep to me, because Birth by Sleep is another one that I waited for so long, and that first trailer was at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah, the Fate Unknown.
The giant
Oh, yeah.
fight. Yeah, the Fate Unknown. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Like, I think that might be the coolest thing in all of Kingdom Hearts history
Yeah.
is that
Oh, yeah.
that
trailer.
trailer is great.
It's just so awesome. There's so many questions, and it's like the song was great.
Yeah.
Everything about it was fantastic. And I feel like the game delivered on that.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
trailer is indicative of every boss battle in that game. I rank Birth
Yeah.
by Sleep higher because when I went into a boss fight, I felt like the whole world was on fire. Like it
Okay,
was.
yeah.
I felt like they were more epic. I felt like they were designed better, and I just felt like none of them were samey either. They
Yeah.
were all very different. And that last stretch of, I think it's like 5 or 6 battles where like you're fighting against Xehanort and then Terra's possessed armor. I felt like each boss battle was the last one, and then it topped it with another like even more difficult, more epic boss battle. And I feel like that ending is what makes that game special.
I also really like the cast of characters in Birth by Sleep. Like I like that it was kind of just like, here's different group, and there's a bunch of weird things.
Weird people.
Like are they different or are they the same? Whatever, it doesn't matter. But like Aqua, for example, like really interesting, super awesome character, and I like that we got more of her in 0.2.
0.2.
Yeah, zero.
Yeah, we're there.
Yeah.
Voiced by Willa Holland of the OC.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts and voice actors.
I love it.
Such a weird
Lance Bass is in the first game.
Leonard Nimoy was
Lance
Xehanort.
Bass, he was
Sephiroth?
He was Sephiroth.
He was Sephiroth. Yeah. David Boreanaz was
he was Leon.
Leon.
Cloud.
Yeah.
Or no, he was Squall.
Squall.
Yeah.
Leon.
Yeah.
Mandy Moore's been in it. Brittany Snow was Naminé. Hayden Panettiere was Kyrie.
Christy Carlson Romano was Yuffie in the first game.
Yep. Haley Joel Osment was Sora, but apparently is not Sora anymore.
Is he not?
didn't know
For
that.
3?
No.
Wow.
Do you watch Silicon Valley? He's now like a character on
he's
Silicon
that,
Valley.
Yeah. I still figured he'd be doing 3.
I heard he's not. I don't know yet.
wow.
We'll see.
Interesting.
Doesn't sound like it. But we'll see.
That is
that's
really
fair.
weird. This is from Pokazard. Does
Nice.
Alexa prefer Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts? I know she adores both, but I'm unsure which
What
one
a Sophie's
more.
choice.
Yeah, right? Like this is totally my Sophie's choice. I love Final Fantasy a lot. Do I have to like prefer one of them? Like, is there a gun to my head? Do I have to pick one? Hey.
Kevin says yeah.
Gosh. I mean, for consistency and quality, I think I'd have to pick Final Fantasy, but if I'm going for the thing that touched my life in many ways that I just can't walk away from, it'd probably be Kingdom Hearts.
That you wrote a book on.
That I wrote a
You
book
literally
on.
wrote the book
I
on.
wrote the book.
So going back to what we were just talking about the ranking for a second then.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the consistency and quality. There's always the argument the Kingdom Hearts fans are going to make that the people that say 1 and 2 are the ones that matter are stupid and don't know and haven't played and they're missing out and all this.
mean-
But really, where do you fall on this? Like, do you think that you can play, that you should just play 1 and 2, or that should you play these other ones?
You need Birth by Sleep.
You do.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and I think we're in agreement on this. The absolute minimum number of Kingdom Hearts games you can play to understand what's going on in 3 is 3. And it's 1, 2, and Birth by Sleep, either in that order or you play the machete order. You're going to play Birth by Sleep first, and then you play 1 and 2. Because
Yeah.
Birth by Sleep canonically takes place before the events of Kingdom Hearts 1.
I'm usually against that when it comes to consuming things. Like anybody
Doing
that says
machete
that you
order.
should watch Fast and Furious in chronological order, go fuck yourself.
I don't agree.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
You need to watch it in the order it was
Yes.
released.
Yeah.
But what would you guys come down on for Kingdom Hearts?
So
Especially now that they're all so readily available in...
Yeah.
I would actually say play 1, 2, Birth by Sleep in that order, because
Same.
I went back and did play them all again and played them with Birth by Sleep first. And it's incredibly frustrating to have this group of reasonably competent, like young adults powering through the world. And then you go to these like super incompetent, derpy ass kids, which they are in the beginning of that series.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very jarring. I don't know, like narratively, it's not enjoyable
Yeah.
if you're playing it for story reasons. So I would say 1, 2, Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, that's the order I would say.
It
too.
reminds me of
Yeah.
like, oh, here's Star Wars, and here's Anakin as a little kid.
Yep.
Great. That's a fun time for
And then
everybody.
I think you should also play Final Chapter Prologue, like the 0.2
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fragmentary passage. Like that is.
I don't
Yes.
count that as a game
No,
demo.
but I just just played that
Yeah.
it somehow.
All right. So, what else we got here? Simply Just Duffy says, what has been your favorite moment in the series so far? And any ideas of how they could top it in Kingdom Hearts 3?
Oh man.
So I wrote about this in my book. This is probably my favorite moment in the whole series. It's when Sora realizes that it's in Kingdom Hearts 2, they're standing on like the deck in the world that never was.
Yeah.
And Kyrie's like, no, wait. Like he yells at Ansem and is like, I guess you're fine. And Kyrie goes, no, wait, that's actually Riku. So she puts their hands on each other and Sora closes his eyes and realizes that it is Riku standing in front of him with a different face. And Sora's been looking for Riku for 2 games now. And like sometimes he's like, oh, I guess Kairi's doing something, but everywhere he goes, he's like, did you see Riku? Was Riku here? Like Riku is his fire, is his best friend. And Sora falls to his knees and starts crying. And it's the one time we really see Sora just completely emote in a way that's not Manic Pixie Dream Boy.
Yeah. I'm getting chills.
Yeah. And that moment, and he says, I looked for you. I looked everywhere for you. Riku's here. Riku's here. And everyone is like, what's happening? And Riku's just standing there like, yeah, I didn't want you to find me. And they have that moment, and that's been my favorite. So I need an emotional moment like that again.
Yeah. I think similarly for me in 1 when they are closing the door to Kingdom Hearts and King Mickey appears and all of that, and Sora and Riku are pushing it. They're like, "Come on, we can do this together," and like that really hits me.
Seeing the shadow, the silhouette of Mickey.
Yeah, I like thinking of, but can we just pull it up somewhere? I just want to watch this.
My God,
but
so
and
great.
then just not on like a plot based level, but watching the opening cutscene of 1 when I remember like vividly putting in the disc for the first time and watching that cutscene, and I just hit restart again and again and just kept watching that.
The song was the hotness, man.
So when you played 0.2 and they re-show the other side of the events of the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, when you when you saw Riku just like little baby Riku like running, like did you like
I think I yelled. I was in the office like playing it, and I think I audibly like yelled like holy, like oh my God.
What's so cool about it is like I was playing through it and it was like I was kind of forcing myself to get through it because I just didn't really enjoy a lot of the more anime-esque things going on, and I felt like I was so out of the story.
Embrace the anime.
Exactly. I know. But the boss fight though, I was like, this is a lot of fun. But I was like, I really do feel like I'm just playing a tech demo that I didn't really need to experience. But then once that end part starts happening, I'm like, holy crap! Like they're really giving me what I would want from this.
Yeah.
Like this is so cool, and I would have never thought that I wanted to see the other angle of it, but it made sense.
Yeah.
And it reminded me that even though I don't know exactly what's going on in the whole story, and it's totally lost on me, like I remembered that, and I like that is something that did stick with me. So I was like, they're hopefully gonna do more of those type of things in 3.
Yeah.
My favorite moment, undeniably, if it's not the Fate Unknown trailer, it would be the 1,000 Heartless.
The Battle of the 1,000 Heartless.
Which
great. Yeah.
I recently watched a YouTube video of someone doing a Let's Play through that part, and it is the corniest, most horrible thing.
Yeah.
Goofy's death scene.
Oh yeah, the
Oh
casual
my
killing of Goofy.
Oh my God.
That's
it's like,
my new novel, The Casual
Killing of Goofy.
My new
how did they
romance
do
novel.
that? Like, how did they decide that that is how they wanted to show that? It's so embarrassing. But I remember playing it, and that didn't bother me. Just that whole fight was just so cool, and like it reminded me of being a little kid playing video games and having just my imagination run totally wild of what it actually was. Like playing an NES game and like Zelda and seeing, you know, what Breath of the Wild now looks like.
Yeah.
But I remember playing that and like just thinking like, wow, this is so epic. The scale is so large. And now I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's nothing. That's just a normal action game.
But I feel like that speaks to like all of us. We love this thing, but can also criticize like where its faults are.
Yes.
But there is that built-in nostalgia, and like the first game hit me at that age where I was going from like loving purely Disney stuff to like, oh, the slightly older Ben with Final Fantasy. Like it hit me at that right time, and I think that's partially why I love the series so much. In addition to
how old are you?
I'm 25.
You're 25. Okay, I'm 20. Oh shit, I'm 28 now. I just turned 28 a couple days ago. That's
birthday!
weird. But yeah, like Kingdom Hearts 1 came out when I was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that was just the perfect time for me to be nostalgic about Disney, but then also be getting into Final Fantasy. Like Final Fantasy 10 was my first Final Fantasy, and then I went back and kind of played most
one to
of them.
start on.
So
Yeah.
I thought it was a great one to start on. But then yeah, like Kingdom Hearts was fantastic. And then when 2 came out in 2005, I was like, it was such a perfect time because at that point I was junior in high school, I think.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I needed this in my life. And then Birth by Sleep took a little too long to come out. So this has nothing to do with Kingdom Hearts, but I think it's an important question. This is from Dougzer, my dude. Ask Dornbush if he can pitch a Gilmore Girls or the OC video game.
Speaking of
gosh.
that,
Back to the OC.
oh man, I mean either one could obviously be a dating sim. I think is the obvious.
An Otome
go-to.
game?
Yes, 100%. I mean, whether you're playing as Rory and you have to choose between Luke, Dean, and Logan, and any other mysterious suitors in Stars Hollow, or the OC, you can either choose to be Seth, or you could be any of the main 4 and have to
thought
go
about
through high
this.
school.
I love this.
A little bit, just maybe a little bit. And there would be. Oh god, you could do crappy middle games where like they're like skateboarding mini game, like because they're trying to impress like one of the girls and then they fall. I remember like I think it's episode 2 in the OC where they're like in a bowl, like someone's pool, and they're just like someone messes up. I might be wrong on that. Probably not.
Nice.
And anyway, so I feel like a dating game for the OC or Gilmore Girls would make the most sense. Or I would love an MMO, a mobile MMO of Gilmore Girls where you play your own denizen of Stars Hollow. You make up the person, and you have to just live in that town. And you talk to people. Anyway, that's my pitch.
I love it.
It's a solid pitch.
I'll be here. Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on One Tree Hill?
I've never seen the full thing.
Okay.
So I'm hesitant to say too much. I enjoyed it when I watched it at the time, but I haven't rewatched it recently. So
As you have with OC.
I rewatched
You're
the
a
OC
fantastic
recently,
creature.
and then Gilmore Girls before the revival. So yeah.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And then another question from Pepelo14. This one's, again, off of Kingdom Hearts, but it's kind of relevant. Announcements. What do you prefer? Something like Fallout 4 or something like Kingdom Hearts 3 and Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Not the Kingdom Hearts 3 route.
Yeah, please don't. If you're, the slow burn is no longer a burn anymore. It's just a sad trudge through like a never-ending like rain cloud storm.
Yeah.
I like the Fallout 4 route where it's like, here's our game and it's out in 6 months.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I like the balance of the two.
There's a middle ground.
Like
for sure.
I like having both. I think that I want more games to do the Fallout 4 approach, but I do feel like there are certain developers or teams or franchises that I think are too big to just do that with. And I think an example for me is Death Stranding. I like the way that it's being handled. I like that we don't know when it's coming out. There's no promises being made.
Or what it is.
Or what it is. But I like that it's like
if any of those trailers will exist in the game.
Yeah, exactly. But I enjoy that. I enjoy that that's kind of part of the whole thing. And I know that when the game comes out, I'm going to enjoy the game. I think Kingdom Hearts is a little bit different because at this point, it is just like, why?
Yeah.
Like we know what that game is. Why is it taking this long? Because it's hard to wrap my head around us getting a bazillion sequels with weird names, and we haven't gotten Kingdom Hearts 3.
We forgot one game, actually. We forgot Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, the mobile
yes,
game.
Yeah.
Where do you fall on that?
They've put a lot of story into that game.
They did.
Which is
Which
crazy.
story?
Like, it's the back cover from the 0.2 collection. Like, that's in there.
Yeah.
The back cover story is essentially part of the story from Unchained Key.
Yeah.
But then they've kept it going. And it's
I know
like,
this is a
you
stupid
could-
question,
Yeah.
but did you guys watch that?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I watched it.
I made it an event at my
Yeah.
house.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I was like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch this thing. It's really dumb.
Yeah. But it ties into that new trailer. Like,
It
it ties into the
does.
orchestra trailer.
Which
It
is
does.
there's so
Which
many
is crazy.
problems
Yeah.
with this.
It does.
That's an issue.
That's all the stuff that I care least about when it comes to Kingdom Hearts is let's just keep going back. Let's just keep going back. But how did this start? But how did this start? And it's like, stop asking that question.
Yeah.
Like, let's just focus on what's interesting and what's cool and the characters that we have. When Organization 13 was first seen in 2, I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know? Like, these are characters
That was
I
an
care
awesome.
about. These
yeah,
are
that and
it's
Chain
like
of Memories, like
the fact that
yeah.
it's not Disney characters or Final Fantasy characters, and I still care. That's awesome. But it hit a point now where I'm like, I don't give a shit about these unicorn things, and like, like I don't know what's happening. You know?
Yeah, I feel like they're playing. I feel like at this point with the plot, they're playing too much into the people who have played everything. Like
Yeah.
they're putting these little bitty details into it that like a lot of people are still like missing. So you can't just be like a casual Kingdom Hearts fan. You have to be
Yeah.
a crazy person like us.
Yeah, and it's so hard to kind of manage that and deal with it. And I don't know what the right call is because you look at something like Star Wars, which I think had a similar issue where with the expanded universe, it got crazy.
Yeah.
And there was no way for people to keep it like headcanon of what is going on. Like when it comes to Han Solo and his kids and this and then like where does it all fall in? And then blowing that up and then being like, all right, cool. Now we're the new trilogy and whatever comes out. I feel like even now we're at a point with Star Wars though that there is so much stuff that is canon that not everyone knows all of the details, but most of it is insignificant. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You can go in and watch the core movies and get all of it out of it. But then there'll be like a little nod here or there. Like I think the way that the Easter eggs that were in Rogue One that tie into Star Wars
To
Rebels
and things
is
like that,
that's perfect.
Yeah.
But I feel like Kingdom Hearts is just
No.
not
like
doing
I,
that.
I could probably go see The Last Jedi having not read any of the comics and I'll be fine. But
Yep.
for people who have, there'll be
There'll
a couple
definitely be
nods
nods here and there.
Yeah, but it is, there's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, and Star Wars does it cleanly. Kingdom Hearts
Yeah.
did it in the exact opposite way and retconned itself so many times it
Across
turned into like
a bunch of different consoles and a
Yes.
bunch
Yeah.
of different like mediums, even like handheld versus console. It's just like
Versus
and
mobile.
mobile
Here's
versus
an
in
animated
Japan you
movie.
have this and it's just like
Yeah.
whoa.
Well, I mean, they have talked about 3 being the end of this saga. And so, like, to your point of wanting a reboot,
saga.
like, I don't think 3 will be the reboot.
No,
but
it
where they
definitely
can
won't
go
be.
after, they do have an opportunity to wipe the slate a little clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Maybe the world ends at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, and
With
then
you.
that's like, whatever.
Hey,
yeah.
there
And
you
then
go.
everything's done, and then
Yeah.
they're just starting over.
Yeah.
But
Done. So, all right, this is an impossible challenge, but I'm throwing it out.
oh boy.
What is the plot of Kingdom Hearts? And we don't need to get into the nitty gritty details.
Okay.
Go.
The series? Like the
What
whole
matters?
Yeah,
thing?
like the full
What
thing?
matters in Kingdom Hearts? Like to get people excited to play 3 that are like, fuck Kingdom Hearts, I don't care about it. What are the things they need to know about? Why is this story cool?
Oh God.
Boy,
Where do
this
we
is a fun
start?
place. Yeah.
Where do we
Well, like,
start?
do we start chronologically? Do we start from
Do we
one?
start with the cult from Unchained Key?
Oh,
Do we
God.
start with the Keyblade Wars?
I feel like Keyblade Wars, I think, more than the cult.
okay, so
for people who don't
forget
know.
the cult. We don't have
Yeah.
to talk about the cult.
They end up in a...
There's a cult.
Yes.
Surprise! Much like the cult we're in right now.
Cult.
So there is a war where people fight with weapons that are the Keyblades, and they're people from many different worlds. I'm assuming they mean all of like the Disney and like Final Fantasy worlds.
Yeah.
So different worlds, not specified. There is a war. The war is resolved, but people are still trained to use the Keyblade just in case something else happens, and they're tasked with just making sure all the worlds stick to their shit and nobody does anything terrible. And one of these Keyblade wielders is a man named Xehanort who just wants to watch the world burn, voiced by Leonard Nimoy.
Michael Caine.
Yeah, he just wants to. He just wants everyone to like go down in like a fiery explosion. So he concocts a plan to just screw everything up and create an ultimate weapon like the Death Star, but it's a Keyblade that will like unlock the heart of all worlds, aka the actual Kingdom Hearts that the series is named after. And summoning that Kingdom Hearts will somehow screw everything up. We're not really told how.
It's both great and terrible, Kingdom
Yes.
Hearts, somehow. The thing itself is both bad, but also wonderful.
Yeah.
So it's like
the-
love.
Yes, or like the One Ring of Power, except much less easy to explain.
Yes.
During this time, Xehanort realizes that he does succeed in creating the weapon, and that weapon gets destroyed. So what he does to extend his life is he possesses the body of another Keyblade wielder, and that Keyblade wielder's spirit gets ejected into the ether while his will remains in his haunted suit of armor in a graveyard, but that's another story. So this Xehanort has... yeah.
That's where you lost Kevin.
There we go.
This is just birth by sleep.
This is just birth by sleep. So
Yeah.
this human being, Xehanort possessed a man named Terra. So this possessed Terra loses his memories and goes out into the world and is found by a scientist named Ansem, who brings him into his laboratory where most of the Organization 13 people work. And they are experimenting with separating people from their hearts for some sick reason.
Yeah, why not? They're bored.
Yeah, they're bored.
They're bored.
And they discover that if you can separate a person's heart into a heartless, I don't know why the heart is called the heartless, because it's the heart itself.
Yeah.
And then the nobody, which is a supposedly a human being without a heart or a thing without a heart. And if you're a strong-willed person, you remain a person. But if you're not, you become one of those creepy
The weird
zipper
white-
people.
Yep.
Like you became a
Yeah.
wacky inflatable tube man, basically.
Okay. Makes
And
sense.
We all aspire.
and Ansem sees the research that Xehanort possessing Terra is doing and is like, this is bad. I'm shutting the lab down. This is too creepy. Bye. And Ansem leaves. And Xehanort Terra takes his name, Ansem, and continues doing the research under his name. And then there's a giant explosion or something that separates all of Organization 13's hearts from their people, and they all become nobodies, led by Terra's body, possessed by Xehanort under Ansem's name, who now becomes a guy named Xemnas, which is Ansem with an X, but if you also scramble it, it spells man sex, and Ansem the Heartless.
You won Kevin back.
I got that. I did that for you,
Kevin's back
Kevin.
in.
And then you have Ansem the Heartless. So you have Ansem the Heartless and Xemnas, which is the body of Xehanort possessing Terra. So it's some weird physics happening in there. So they create Organization 13, and they're going about doing their thing, collecting hearts, trying to make an artificial Kingdom Hearts. While all of that is happening, Aqua, one of the Keyblade wielders from the first game, goes and... Wait, I forgot something. So Aqua and Terra,
for the general audience, I
the
feel
guy,
like
the guy who's possessed, they give the Keyblade powers to Sora and Riku. So Sora and Riku wake up. The darkness comes to Destiny Island, and Riku answers the call and is like, "I want to get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna follow the darkness." And Sora follows him, thinking Riku is going somewhere bad, where he is. And Kairi somehow gets mixed in that. I don't know what the hell happened to Kairi. So Sora's adventures happen.
Kyrie's there.
Sora,
Subtitle
Kyrie's there
to Kingdom Hearts 1.
doing a thing. So Sora rescues Riku from the darkness mostly. Riku is still possessed by Ansem's darkness and spends the next 2 games coping with that. Sora defeats Ansem's Heartless, and all that's left to defeat is Xemnas and Organization 13. Xemnas, who is the possessed version of Terra, Xehanort inside Terra. So Kingdom Hearts 2...
I love this.
Sora and Riku.
I know.
Sora
You're
and Riku.
nailing this.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't have to step in. This
I'm
is
trying.
great.
Correct me if I
No,
like.
you're doing well.
So Sora and Riku in Kingdom Hearts 2, working together but separately. Riku always one step ahead of. Kevin just laughed very loudly. Riku always one step ahead of Sora, while Sora is looking for
Classic
Riku. So Riku is laying the breadcrumbs for Sora to follow. Defeat the rest of Organization 13. Befriend one Axel. He comes into play later. And they finally confront Xemnas after all of Organization 13 is dead. He and Kairi, Riku, Sora, and Kairi are reunited. They defeat Xemnas, and they're like, great, we can go home now. Everything's great. And Mickey's like, this is cool. Everyone go back to normal. However...
Yep, Mickey's
Oh,
there.
yeah, and Mickey's there, by the way.
Yeah, Mickey is a king.
So this is like the main plot. So at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, what has happened, and what I'm assuming is in the note in the bottle that is given to them by King Mickey
At the end of 2,
is there's still a danger because you defeated the Heartless and the nobody of Xehanort possessing Terra, aka Xehanort's spirit in someone else's body. He is now gathering his power. I don't know how the hell that works. I don't know. How physics, what is it?
Doesn't exist.
So he's amassing power. So they take Sora and Riku take the Mark of Mastery exam, which is the proficiency to be a Keyblade Master. Riku passes, Sora fails. And Sora goes away to train, which brings us to the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 3. And then we also find out, as of the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 3, that Xehanort has separated his soul into 13 bodies. And these 13 bodies are what we have to defeat in Kingdom Hearts 3. What they are, we know that one is Xemnas' form. Yeah. One is Ansem's form. We saw them in the latest trailer. One is Syx, who was organization member number 7, who willingly stayed with Xehanort after all of that stuff went down. And then there are 10 more, I don't know what the hell they are. And then the people going against them are 7 Lights, which I'm assuming is Sora, Riku, Kairi, who's being trained for some stupid reason, Aqua, who they have to rescue from the darkness, Ventus, who is sleeping in a room somewhere, Terra, who they have to fix because his body and his spirit and his will are all in 3 separate places. And I'm assuming the last one is King Mickey.
Yeah, what about
Axel?
Axel Lee.
Axel, who is no longer named Axel because he became a real boy again and lost the X in his name. So he's Lee now. And those 7 people are going to fight.
So we're up to...
Andy Cortez walks
Andy
in
just walked-
with the
Oh
best
no, you
face
caught us
ever.
discussing Kingdom Hearts.
You are never going to invite me back. Not after this.
That was fantastic.
Sell them on a religion or something.
I mean,
Yeah,
it is.
pretty much. So that's it. How long was I talking
That's
for?
it.
Was that like
That was the hour and 12 minutes. That
Yeah,
was,
that entire thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's it. That's the boilerplate.
That is, like short version. There's
no
a thing
extra.
that controls all the power of hearts. Friends are your power.
Yeah.
Save King Mickey and some people.
So here's
I got sweaty
my problem.
explaining that.
no, you
I'm
did
like-
fantastically.
You nailed it.
You did so well.
But I feel like the biggest problem with what just happened is that you explained the plot of Kingdom Hearts, and none of that is the things that people are interested in.
No.
You didn't even mention Disney. You said there was Worlds. You mentioned King Mickey casually.
Mickey's there.
Yep, King Mickey's there.
Hanging out.
It's just that's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they've just doubled down on this
On the crazy.
nonsense.
Well, there was the body snatching thing was a big thing.
Okay.
And then at the end of Dream Drop Distance, you realize that the person you've been fighting the whole time is like Xehanort from the past.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm
about
from
that.
everywhere. And it's just like just the time travel. His old decrepit self, which you assume is now just a wandering spirit in like an Obi-Wan Kenobi cloak, went to the past to tell his baby self, hey, you have to fuck everything up. Like, where does it start? There's no starting point.
Yeah.
How is it no start? They've went back so far.
Yeah.
There's the unicorn. So the cult is the unicorns.
They're
Unicorn
different.
Saga is the beginning.
Yeah, there are different masks, like facets of this cult, who all believe in like the spirit of the Keyblade and everything. And yeah, they're all separate, but also all together. Like their masters they're united under the Master of Masters.
The Master of Masters, who is the most, probably the most weirdest character in all of Kingdom Hearts, voiced by Ray Chase, who also played Noctis in Final Fantasy 15.
But he's like a sassy modern day dude in the way past.
Yeah, he also just wants to make the world burn, and he created like the ultimate Keyblade by putting his eye in it. And that Keyblade is also Xehanort's Keyblade. That's the one that he's carrying. So that's like that's a breadcrumb that people like only like us would find.
Yeah, that is not explicitly like a part of,
So Mickey.
Mickey's there.
Mickey is the king. What is he the king of?
So I've actually gotten a lot of like criticism about this point specifically in my book because I identify Mickey as, so he's the king and everyone just calls him the king. He can travel everywhere. He has every power. He has the best Keyblade and everyone universally respects his authority except for the big bads. So I see him as like the king of the universe. He's the benevolent king watching over all.
Get it? Yeah.
And he is like the idea of the Arthurian king in that he has control of the world and the underworld. It is the realm of light and the realm of darkness. He oversees all of it, but then he's also a warrior king in that he goes out into battle on himself. He leads the troops.
Okay.
So imagine I see him as Minnie has to put up with.
I know, man.
So
God
he is
bless
the
her heart.
king of the universe, Mickey.
Okay.
That's how I see it. We had some debates about it.
I could see that, yeah. But where people think he's just the king of his specific world or like the Disney worlds or where was the...
They're like, he's the king of Disneytown. And it's like, no. But if you look at everything he has power over.
Yeah. A little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. So Kingdom Hearts 3, essentially you think that the plot of that is going to be the 7 versus the 13.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how is this going to end?
Well, so that's all like... That's all like hinted at. What I love about the Final Chapter Prologue collection is there's a cutscene called 2.9. Like everyone thought that game was going to be called 2.9,
which was the weirdest thing that it was 2.8.
2.8, really? Yeah. And then it is 2.9. Like it sets up essentially the beginning of 3. Like I was surprised at how it is right at the start of 3.
Yeah.
Which is like that whole cold open thing. I think that is where the cold open is.
Yeah.
But yeah, where it ends, I mean, it'll be this battle. Someone will sacrifice themselves.
Probably multiple times.
I mean, people in this in that lineup Lee has died like 4 times.
But for good. Like someone's going to have to sacrifice themselves and that is the end of it.
And they have to be dead forever.
Yeah.
And I honestly think it's going to be Riku, which is going to break my little heart.
Yeah.
Because Riku is the person who in the entire series has grown the most. He's accepted his darkness and learned to wield it as his strength.
Yep.
He has been just the best at everything and is basically the fuel behind Sora's actions.
He has cool pants.
He has cool pants. He has the nice hair.
Yeah.
He has to die. And he has to die for good. And it's going to be really upsetting.
Yeah.
So going back on something that you were making fun of earlier, Kairi. What is her deal?
So Sora and Kairi are going to name their first child Riku. That is going to be the epilogue to that game.
They get married and Sora laments about the person that he loved the most being dead and names his child after him.
Yep.
Kairi she's a love interest. She's a plot point, and I write about this in my book as well. There are no real strong women in Kingdom Hearts until you get to Aqua. You have Namine, who sort of puts things in motion, but she's also like the woman.
She's a nobody, though.
She's literally.
Yeah.
She's literally a nobody.
Literally.
Kairi, I don't know. Like, I feel like she got put in that first game as like the simple. We need
simple,
2 boys.
Clean.
Yeah. Simple. There you go. You're on fire today.
Yeah. Thank you.
They need 2 boys to fight over something, so make it a girl.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where Kairi came from, because Kairi is the 7th Princess of Heart, which is a convenient way to make her mean something else to them. But I just don't think she has any point in that game. Like she just got kidnapped and then kidnapped from her kidnappers and then kidnapped from her kidnappers again in Kingdom Hearts 2. And now they're training her to be a Keyblade wielder. There's a rumor flying around on the internet that she and Riku were playable. I don't want her to be playable. I don't care about her. She hasn't done anything. So I don't like, they could get rid of her completely for Kingdom Hearts 3 and I don't think anyone would miss her. She doesn't do anything.
It's a cold world.
I think people would, but you could also make that game work without her in it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you want to trim some of the fat. Just a little bit.
So we're done with everything. Is there any closing words about Kingdom Hearts in general?
Don't be like me. That's literally it. Don't be like me. Don't be like me. Don't be like me.
Oh man. So where's your excitement level for Kingdom Hearts 3?
Especially after that last trailer, like I am pumped.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but between that and what Final Chapter Prologue set up, like there was fatigue setting in with me for sure, but I am at like, okay, let's do this. I want to play this. I want to see where this goes. Like I'm invested again after a little bit of a lapse. Like I'm here.
I feel like I need to see what worlds they add.
Okay.
Because I think that's really gonna like tell me how excited I am. Because
Yeah.
right now I'm like, I don't care if you take 5 more years. Like I don't need to play this game. Like, but if I see Toy Story, that might change that. Because like that world would fit so well with what Kingdom Hearts is.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll have to see. Well, guys, thank you for joining me for this very special episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Thank you all for watching live or watching at home whenever you want. Let us know in the comments below what the most ridiculous thing Alexa said today was. I can't wait to know because man,
Oh no!
as you were going through, I was like,
was
all right, cool.
fantastic.
I'm sticking with you. I do know what you're
I
talking
saw your
about.
eyes glaze over.
And it hit a point
And I
that I'm
was
like, oh fuck, I
okay.
don't know anything.
I just love that, like, of this, obviously we're saying, like, play 1 and play 2 and Birth by Sleep, but it's like, Birth by Sleep is so important.
It's
I wish
very-
they had numbered it, because
Yeah.
people don't think
That's
they
the
need
thing
to.
is I feel like Birth by
is-
Sleep deserved a number, even if it
Yeah.
was 3 with the pro or with
2.5,
type
if
of
that
just
was
some-
2.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the proper 2.5
Yeah.
or
Or 0.5, whichever way you want.
0.5.
God. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 0 I would have even been fine
Sure.
with.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Why
That
did
would've
you do
worked.
Like Yakuza 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 0.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us. Peace.